Mr. Metelsky here, and this video will be about solving one-step equations. So when you're trying to solve one-step equations, you're trying really to answer this question: what value will make the equation true? So I have two examples here. First one is 2x equals 10. So this means 2 times x, or 2 times some mystery number, is equal to 10. Well, looking at this, I'm hoping that in your mind you can think 2 times 5 equals 10. So what we could say here is that our variable x really is 5. Now on this question over here on the right side, we have a minus 15 equals 3. What this means is what value minus 15 will equal 3? Well, if you think about it, we need to figure out a number that when we move to the left on the number line 15 spots, we end up at 3. Well, that should be 18. So we can say a is equal to 18. So there's a process that you can use to help yourself when you're trying to solve equations, and it's basically two questions. The first question is you want to ask yourself, what is happening to the variable? So like in our first problem, the variable x has a 2 in front of it. That means that the x is being multiplied by 2. Over here, the variable a was being subtracted by 15. So we want to think of it like an action that's occurring to the variable. The variable is here, it's being subtracted by 15. Once we ask ourselves what's happening to the variable, then we can use the inverse operation to undo that action. So I have 3 examples that we're going to look at, all a little bit different. So the first example is a divided by negative 5 equals 6. So remember that that fraction bar means division. So if we ask ourselves what is happening to the variable, it's being divided by negative 5. So the inverse operation to undo that, instead of dividing by negative 5, we're going to multiply by negative 5. Okay, so that's how we get rid of division. We're going to multiply by. Now in an equation, we want to make sure that we do that to both sides. So I like to draw a dashed line down our equal sign so we know we have a left side and a right side of our equation. And what we're going to do is multiply both sides by negative 5. So I'm going to take this problem and I'm going to put it in parentheses on both sides. I'm not really changing anything there. And I'm going to multiply this side by negative 5. And I'm going to multiply this side by negative 5. Now the whole goal of that is because when we divide by negative 5 and we multiply by negative 5, those are inverse operations. And that will leave us with 1a, or just a. And over here, 6 times negative 5, that would be negative 30. So that means that our variable a should be negative 30. So if we plug that into the original, negative 30 divided by negative 5 is positive 6. So we get a true statement. All right, let's take a look at another one. Here we have negative 7 plus w equals 10. So in this case, this w is being added by negative 7. So added by negative 7. So the inverse of that would be subtracted by negative 7. Now think of it, if we're subtracting by a negative, Subtracting by a negative is the same thing as really adding, because we're taking away negative things. So we're really going to add 7. And if we do that on the left, we have to do that on the right. So here we're going to get negative 7 plus 7. That really is 0. So that disappears, and 0 plus w is w. And 10 plus 7 is 17. So that means that if we plug 17 in, negative 7 plus 17 is equal to 10, which that is a true statement. All right. And our last example is 6 equals 2/3 f. This time the variable is on the right side. And if we look at f, there's a 2/3 in front of it, so that 2/3 is multiplied by the f. So here it's multiplied by 2/3. So the inverse of being multiplied by 2/3 is to divide by 2/3. Oops. So we could, if we wanted to, divide by 2/3. But remember, when we're dividing by a fraction, that's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal. And that means that we're going to take this 2/3 and we're going to flip it. So that's 3/2. So the numerator and denominator trade places. So we're going to do that on both sides. So here and here, we're going to put both of those in parentheses, and we're going to multiply by 3/2. And here. So before we had 2/3 and we're multiplying it by 3/2, if we would really multiply that across, 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6. So we'd really have 6/6, which is 1. So that's how we get 1f, or just f. And over here, we can think of the 6 as being over an invisible 1. So 3 times 6 is 18. 2 times 1 is 2, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. So 9 is equal to f. And that's our final answer. So just some recap of the process here. In order to figure out one-step equations, you ask yourself what is happening to the variable, and then you use the inverse operation to undo it. Make sure you take your time, make sure that you show your work so that you can demonstrate to your audience, which might be me, which might be somebody else, can demonstrate to your audience your thought process. So I just don't want the answer, I want to see this work involved too. Right? Each one there was like a step that we had to write out. All right, good luck as you're working.